Hello, kids. Today, I am reading something different. This is from time.com. This is actually a newsletter that I subscribe to, and the newsletter is called It's Not Just You. Why do I say it's different? This kind of writing is meant as meditation, therapy. 它就是协助你舒展心情嘛，协助你解压。You know what I mean when I'm done with it. This one is called The Irreplaceable Grace of an Ordinary Morning. I am not stopping at all today. I'm just going to go through it. You're going to find the vocabulary down below if you need it. Okay, here we go. Early in the morning at the unruly park by my house, it feels like the before times. Big dogs gallop by, chasing each other at full speed. Nothing between them and the rise of the next icy hill. We, the lumpy, masked, bundled up humans, look on with envy. My little round dog trots back to me with a ball some 20 or 30 times. He is equally and outrageously delighted with every successful retrieval. This is the irreplaceable grace of an ordinary morning. When we get home, dog will snuffle and snore at my feet, and I will turn on the news, even though I know what's waiting. It will be another normal day where abnormal, incomprehensibly huge numbers of COVID deaths and hospitalizations update on the screen like Greaves' scoreboard. With the new year comes the arrival of vaccines and our growing desperation to move forward, to do something, anything, to escape this endless discomfort and fear. We are aching to go back to whatever normal was, to leave those awful numbers behind. But history begs us to pause, to give those lost lives and livelihoods their due, and to understand what's happened and why. Without that acknowledgement, we lose the gratitude and the lessons that we need to really move on, to renew, to do better next time. As Ali Weasel put it, if we stop remembering, we stop being. And science has shown that even if we don't formally process or collectively memorialize those losses, memories and trauma can live on in our DNA. And yet, how are our brains supposed to understand the scale of what's happened in the past year? What does 349,000 or 400,000 or maybe eventually 500,000 deaths mean to us as a country or as people? We have grown numb to the magnitude of the catastrophe. This is what happens in any war, especially one that drags on for years and has no one date or city as a reference. This tragedy has unfurled slowly, invisibly, behind hospital doors where visitors aren't allowed, and without traditional witnesses, other than medical workers who carry so much of our national sorrow in their bones. After the attacks of September 11, 2001, a person couldn't walk a block in New York City without seeing the faces of the dead. There were photos posted everywhere with flowers and candles in tribute to the nearly 3,000 women, men, children, firefighters, chefs, traders, mothers, fathers, cleaners, and dreamers lost. The whole country felt the absence of the people who had died in New York City, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. The ubiquitous, spontaneous grief was the first glimmer of the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. And every year since 2001, television networks have broadcast a reading of the names of everyone who died. It takes 3 hours to read them all. Now we have a daily 9/11 sized death toll, but the flags are not lowered. And think about this. If we were to read aloud the names of the more than 350,000 souls already lost to COVID, it would take about 400 hours. And if we were to create a memorial quilt for the pandemic at a similar scale to the 1.2 million square feet AIDS memorial quilt, which has more than 94,000 names, it would occupy nearly 5 million square feet. I can imagine what that COVID quilt would look like from the air. A limitless blanket covering a wounded land. The AIDS quilt weighs about 50 tons. You couldn't lay it all out at once if you wanted to, but you can look through the panels digitally one by one and see these singular stories of another deadly virus and another time stitched together by a community in mourning. You can also search for someone by name to find their panel, their piece in a mosaic of love, like the father of my dear friend Liba, Hal Bray, who died in 1995, just a few heartbreaking months before AIDS treatment drugs became available. We found his name stitched under a quilted rainbow with an array of nouns: pastor and singer, father and mentor, organist and Texan. Hal Bray bequeathed a whole constellation of talents and charm to his daughter, in whose work he still lives. Here's the quilt. Son, husband, father, grandfather, teacher, mentor, pastor, singer, organist, actor, Texan. We are still in the midst of this epic struggle to prevent more COVID cases and to administer a vaccine faster than a mutating virus can spread. And we don't know how large a quilt will need. But speaking the names of those lost can remind us why we still have to sacrifice and fight to save every life we can, even now, when we are weary, and when the numbers have lost their meaning. And it is one way to recognize the individual stars in an infinite universe of grief. As Carl Sagan wrote, "For small creatures such as we, the vastness is bearable only through love." Okay, I hope you liked it. Justine and Chloe, I would like you to also go through this and make a recording and send it to me and give me 200 words. This is different. This is kind of nice. So do it, okay? Yeah, like I said, it's not just you. Susanna Schrobsdorff, I hope I said it right, she is the editor for this column, I think. Anyway, until next time, see ya.